Have you ever tried just sitting around and thinking up the most absolutely terrible worst case scenarios for certain situations? Like, for instance, what's the worst that can happen when you mix highly unstable nitroglycerin with an internal combustion engine and remove, let's say, pressure valve, safety caps, and heat shields? Doesn't that kind of stuff just get you excited? Or how about what could possibly go wrong when you down a bottle of Jack Daniels, pop 10 Vicodin, even it out with a few tablets of acid, and then get behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler in the middle of downtown Tokyo on rush hour during tourist season? Let's try another one. What's the worst that can happen if you put a bunch of carnivorous, adrenaline-filled, brain-damaged alpha male convicts on one plane, remove all weapons, and keep them in easily picked handcuffs? This is the movie which convinced people that there is in fact an exception to the rule that if you play a character with an accent, you get an Oscar nod. While I love this movie and how Nicolas Cage plays his character, I can't help but thinking every time I see it that his accent sounds like a mutated mix between Elvis Presley and an Austrian Sylvester Stallone.
I'm Bird.
Huh?
I'm Bird.
Anyway, we start the movie off with some character and plot development to set up the fact that Nicolas Cage's character, and can we have guessed any differently, will become our film's damaged hero. We're introduced to our love interest in the movie, who, I might add, comes off as the most annoying female character in a movie I've seen in a long time. Some drunken asshole tries to hit on her while she's dancing with her husband, and she gets upset with Cage for giving this guy a dirty look and getting mildly upset. Yeah, as if somehow that makes him a bad person. Oh no, standing up for my wife, we mustn't do that.
This is a special occasion. If you don't mind, I'd like to spend it dancing with my wife.
Tell you what, soldier dick. Why don't you go buy me and my buddies around?
Hey, Cameron, no, it ain't worth it. Hey. Come on, Daddy, let's dance. You know, for a second there, you were that guy again.
I know it.
Well, I was hoping maybe the Army would make that guy grow up.
So cut to outside, and Cage is ambushed by that same douchebag and is forced to defend himself by smashing the guy's nose 6 inches into his skull. Owned! That move always makes me want to join the army, just so that I can have a reason to learn that without looking like a complete sociopath for going to a martial arts dojo and just asking the guy how it's done. This next bit of the movie has always confused me. Either Cage managed to find the worst possible lawyer in the entire state, or have a really romantic ideology of the world. He gets sentenced to 7 years for manslaughter 1 because of his military training and his ability to respond with deadly force. But did Cage just completely refuse to point out the fact that the man was brandishing a switchblade? He had been ambushed by 4 guys and was protecting the safety of his wife and their unborn child? It's all quite weird, but I guess we need a reason for Cage to be sent to prison, and what better excuse than to be sent on a trumped-up charge for the sake of showing his determination and will to return home.
Be remanded to a federal penitentiary, where you shall remain incarcerated for a term not less than 7 to 10 years.
7 years later, Cage is getting ready to be sent home, and apparently they don't allow you to cut your hair while in prison. He looks like a Harlequin romance character getting ready to grease up and strut down some exotic beach on a tropical island.
It's my dick in a box. My dick in a box, girl.
This movie sort of does meander a bit, with what some might call exposition at the beginning of the film, but which I call wasted time in an action movie. Luckily for us, however, this movie picks up. Quickly. I mean, we sort of saw this coming, didn't we? The baddest, meanest, and downright most crotchety criminals in the state are put onto the same plane, coincidentally enough, and Nicolas Cage, the one guy just hitching a ride home, is thrown right in the middle. What a great recipe for destruction.
His name is Cyrus Grissom, a.k.a. Cyrus the Virus. 39 years old, 25 of them spent in our institutions. But he's bettered himself inside, earned 2 degrees, including his Juris Doctor. He also killed 11 fellow inmates, incited 3 riots, and escaped twice. Likes to brag that he killed more men than cancer.
Okay, open wide. Lift your tongue.
Cyrus is a poster child for the criminally insane. He's a true product of the system.
Actually, once this movie starts going, it hardly knows how to contain itself. Once the convicts inevitably take over the plane, the movie doesn't stop. There is so much action and adrenaline pumping that it actually has a hard time mellowing out for any longer than a minute at a time. Just look at this scene. They made driving down a traffic-free highway in the middle of the afternoon the most intense thing in the world. It's so intense they didn't even bother to put music, just these sort of odd rhythmic punches. This movie sets up some of the most awesome scenes captured in the action genre. Just the concept of having Nicolas Cage, an ex-US Ranger caught in a drunken bar brawl, defending the honor of his wife, and then finds himself among a group of cold-blooded serial killers and rapists, is bound to produce some terribly hilarious clashes.
I knew you was a punk, and I was right. You been playing us all along. You a free man.
I said, put the bunny back in the box.
Oh, and he gets him with the butt hump. I love that. He totally doesn't move his arm in any way that would break it, but apparently the director thought that scene needed a bit of extra ownage.
Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
I love how this movie portrays police officers. It's like they're the dumbest motherfuckers around, except for just one guy. I mean, none of the cops in this movie, other than John Cusack, seem to understand how to do their jobs properly. I mean, these cops get themselves blown up like a bunch of morons. This guy's clueless.
30 prisoners, and I'm Elvis Presley.
Uncle Bob's Scenic Tours. Shit!
And these cops don't understand the concept of an ambush.
Fall back.
Now.
This movie has probably one of the most excessively long and drawn out endings of any action movie that I've seen, and that's a good thing. You would think that parking a plane in the middle of a fountain outside of a Vegas casino hotel would be enough of an ending, but not for these guys. They land the plane, destroying millions of dollars in property, but they also lose the main bad guys, resulting in another car chase through a tunnel. This is great. It's so balls to the wall awesome that you have to peel them off with a spatula once it's finished.
Come get it! Come on, man! That gun work? Yeah! Well, shoot that piece of shit!
And how does it end? Well, just like it should, really. It's one of the greatest villain death scenes out there. Fuck yeah.